It is draft day, and we will be live for the entirety of this year's NFL draft right here on Chat Sports. So if you haven't already and you want great pick analysis and pick tips before they actually come in on the networks, hit that sub button right now. Let's get to the final ESPN mock draft, not done by Mel Kiper, who I will call a coward for not doing one, and maybe he'll make me look dumb by dropping in a few hours. But Field Yates has his out this morning, so we'll break down that one. Caleb Williams, number 1. That is set in stone. Jayden Daniels, number 2. The occasional whisper of, well, maybe not, but certainly is the expectation there that Daniels goes to the Commanders. Drake Maye at number 3. Some conflicting info out there in terms of, it's Drake Maye. Well, maybe it's trade down and or take J.J. McCarthy. So just enough drama to keep you engaged on that front there. I would still think it's Drake Maye, but crazy stuff happens even in the top 5 in the NFL draft. Marvin Harrison Jr. to Arizona. They have a high asking price to trade down. They will listen to offers all the way up to their pick. And in the end, if they do trade down, I bet they go back up and still try to acquire him. The first stunner here is at number 5. J.C. Latham to the L.A. Chargers as the first offensive tackle off the board over Joe Alt, because the Chargers need a right tackle, not a left tackle. You have Rashawn Slater already. And if you're going to be a run the ball, establish the ground game football team under Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman, it actually does make a lot of sense. It's also why a trade down and getting Latham is also very much a popular idea at this time. The Giants then, with the top 3 quarterbacks off the board, pass on J.J. McCarthy, and they take Malik Nabers. I think the Giants, Maye, McCarthy, Nabers, probably going to have at least one of those guys available for you at pick number 6, barring something wild and wacky. Saw a report that Michael Penix could be in play. I think that'd be a terrible idea for the Giants. But Nabers, as an explosive playmaker, gives what the Giants need, at least at the wide receiver spot. I think every single person watching is hyped and excited for this year's NFL draft. So flood the comment section by typing me if that is you and you can't wait for the couple of hours left until this year's draft. The ad comes on YouTube. Take advantage of that timing. Head down there and spam your me's in the comments. Joe Alt, number 7. There's been some wide receiver conversation there, but everyone mocks Alt at 7. If he's off the board, maybe Odunze start to make sense. The Falcon makes sense. At Falcons at number 8, they trade the first of 4 trades in this Field Yates mock draft. The Vikings jump up. They send a 4th and a future 3rd, so not that much, to go up and get J.J. McCarthy. This would mean they get to keep their other first-round pick and their future first-round pick, and they still get their quarterback. That would be a big win for Minnesota. It does end up being J.J. McCarthy. There's been the occasional whisper of, well, maybe it's McCarthy at 2, maybe it's McCarthy at 3. I still think ending up, whether it's 4, 5, maybe even 6 or 8, whatever, McCarthy ends up as a Viking, but there is the possibility for chaos. Odunze at number 9, maybe he's gone. In that case, maybe the Bears look at Byron Murphy II or a pass rusher like Dallas Turner, whatever. But, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Odunze, you're setting up Caleb Williams for success in the end. At number 10, a trade. The Jets move down from 15, picking up a 3rd-round pick in the process, and the Colts get the 1st-round pick, number 10 overall, and Indy jumps up for a guy that has been linked pretty heavily to New York. That is Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia, who I think fits the Colts offense pretty darn well and gives the Colts another playmaker for young QB Anthony Richardson. Finally, a defensive player off the board here. It is not Dallas Turner, who has been so heavily mocked to the Falcons. Instead, it is Byron Murphy, who could also be a good fit alongside Grady Jarrett in Atlanta. And then Denver at 12 goes, well, we need a quarterback, but we're going to take Dallas Turner. And I am very curious. If McCarthy slides a little bit, I wonder if Denver starts to make some calls. I think that's who Sean Payton has his eyes on there. But Turner off the board at number 12. Denver, regardless of who's even been in charge, has a penchant for drafting pass rushers fairly early. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event, the same way that maybe you worry about who your team's going to draft tonight. Whether it is for a basketball game, for a concert, for a hockey game, baseball game, whatever, Game Time has you covered. Go over to gametime.co and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. That's promo code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Keep an eye out for flash deals, sponsor deals, and zone deals. Zone deals are the biggest savings you can find there on Game Time. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for big time savings in the process. So again, download the Game Time app, create your account, use code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Terms do apply, but again, create that account at gametime.co and use code CHATSPORTS. At 13, Michael Penix Jr. Been a lot of buzz about Penix going crazy early. I don't know how much I believe it. I think the Penix camp has done a fantastic job of getting his name hyped up pretty well. Credit to them. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up being a Raider. Maybe it's in a trade up in the back end of round one scenario, or maybe it's a Will Levis thing where he doesn't go round one. But I do think there's some interest there between the Raiders and Penix. Olu Foshnu out of Penn State. You got issues along the offensive line. Ryan Ramczyk has a knee issue. Trevor Penning has not played very well. Sean and the Saints makes a lot of sense. Fuaga at 15, and this is actually one that I had at number 10 in mind. Maybe it's Fuaga or Bowers or Odunze if he falls. I think the Jets would love to get that scenario there. Look, Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses were acquired, but those are older players with some injury concerns. So it wouldn't be a shock to me, at least, if the Jets took offensive linemen. A trade again at 16. Philadelphia jumps up, giving their third, and of course, giving their second and their 22nd overall pick to Seattle in exchange for a third and a first rounder, and they get their corner. Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo is the pick here at number 16 overall. Bradbury, Slayer aging, adding a young corner, I don't think would surprise anybody in this year's NFL draft. Some more trades. I guess that was actually trade 3, not trade 2. How many trades in round 1 do you think we end up getting today? I'll set the over-under at like 6.5. I think it could be kind of wild. Get those predictions in for me in the comments now. The Jags also get a corner, Terrion Arnold, and this has been a pretty popular mock draft pick. They could be a surprise wide receiver trade team, though, too. The Bengals do not go offensive linemen, and maybe as an overreaction to the Trey Hendrickson trade request, which I don't think happens, Jared Verse is the pick here out of Cincinnati. You have Sam Hubbard. You also just spent a first rounder on Myles Murphy. So I would be a little surprised if they passed on Verse because there are offensive linemen, especially one name in particular on the board left for Cincinnati. 19, it's a quarterback. Bo Nix in round 1 out of Oregon. This would tie that 1983 group, by the way, that elite group, for the most in the more modern NFL draft era. I would hate Bo Nix at 19, just to be honest. He would probably do pretty well in a McVay offense, but kind of limiting your ceiling a little bit more than you need to. So over or under 5.5 quarterbacks in round 1. I'm taking the under. I feel pretty good about that one. What do you guys think? O for over, U for under. Number 20, the Steelers take Graham Barton out of Duke. They need a center. I think, especially given the Jackson Powers Johnson medical concerns, Barton is the best one in the class. Miami goes with a blazing fast wide receiver. Again, it's Xavier Worthy out of Texas, which a little thin in terms of the defensive linemen left, but hey, you're getting another playmaker that will eventually replace one of Hill or Waddle as the number 2. Troy Fautano here out of Washington. Seattle trades down, still invests in a guard, and pairs him with former offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb and O-line coach Scott Huff at number 22. That's a very real possibility. Also keep an eye on Cooper DeJean at 22. So Minnesota now gets to keep that 23rd overall pick. They take Latu out of UCLA to give them another key pass rusher. The neck injury, which medically retired him at Washington, is the big red flag in his game. Tyler Guyton, a very popular Cowboys mock draft pick here at number 24. I think they would rather get Barton or Fautanu, but they're both off the board. Guyton is a very popular pick, which would allow them to keep Tyler Smith at left guard, and you're going to flip Guyton over from right tackle to left tackle. Now, I am a much higher on Marius Mims than most people. Love this pick for Green Bay at 25. I wouldn't even rule out them trading up to get him. Chop Robinson at 26 or maybe 27 has been a very popular mock pick as of late. They move on from Shaq Barrett. Adding a pass rusher, given the way Joe Tryon-Shoyinka's played, is at least possible for Tampa. Cooper DeJean at number 27 to the Arizona Cardinals. They could also be wheeling and dealing around a little bit here. Is he a corner or a safety? That's a bit more of a question mark. In what could also be a trade-up scenario, the Bills take a wide receiver, but it's Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. I think he's a pretty safe round one selection and gives them potential wide receiver one upside, which they need since they traded away Stephon Diggs. One last trade, and I think this is a very real possibility. The Commanders jump back up into the first round. They go from 36 to 29 while giving up pick number 100 overall in the process. Jordan Morgan then is their pick here at number 29 overall. This is their left tackle, something that they need. I wouldn't even be shocked if they got up to around pick 24-ish, given the fact that, or even just above it, given the fact that everyone knows Dallas wants an offensive lineman, so you jump in front of them to prevent you from missing out on your guy. Darius Robinson here to the Ravens. He's a tweener for me. That does worry me. I think the Ravens would find a way to most maximize his talent, though. Kool-Aid McKinstry at number 31. Offensive tackle is certainly a viable option here as well. The Jones foot fracture is a red flag for McKinstry, but I think the talent is absolutely worth a top 32 pick. And the Chiefs at 32, A.D. Mitchell. There are some concerns around Mitchell. The effort, I think there's been some football character question marks as well. But the talent is, at his size, running a 4.34 with one drop. That's really, really impressive stuff. So grade the final Field Yates mock draft for me in the comments. A, B, C, D, or F.